what quality means, what is the meaning of commitment, right? What is the importance of showing up on time, what is the meaning of true professionalism, right?
Hey guys, this is Avi Arya, father of 2 girls, 6 dogs, husband to a superwoman, a street car racer turned hotelier, now social media marketer and founder of Internet Moguls. Welcome to my channel.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sounds good.
Thank you. And the first thing we always say is the shortest distance between two human hearts is always a story. You tell a perfect stranger a good story and you win a heart for life. So before we get started, I know you have a presentation for us and we're going to give you the stage. But before that, if you can share your story with all of us.
Yeah, sure thing. So my story is a kind of a part of a presentation, but yeah, I'll be happy to explain. So
Okay, perfect.
yeah, my name is Manish Dudhrejia, and I'm currently in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So I born and brought up in a very small town, of Gujarat, and where the population is like 100,000, where exactly I born and brought up, and then I moved to Ahmedabad like 20 years back for my further studies, and yeah, I did my master's in computer science, and then in 2006 I passed out, and 2007 I got into digital marketing industry. uh, I worked for two different companies as a digital marketing analyst. And then 2012, I started E2M. 2012, we just started with two people. And today we have close to 100 people. We have office in over here in Ahmedabad, that's our headquarters. And we also have an office in San Diego, California. So we are full service digital marketing agency. Like, we don't serve any clients in India. All of our clients in North America, in the United States and Canada. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell
Sure.
about my story. But yeah, I'll talk more about it in my presentation.
Thank you, Manish.
Thank you. Thank you, Avi. Can everyone see my screen? Just say yes. Let me see. Okay, that looks like everyone can see my screen. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get started. Uh, Great. I guess everyone can see my. So yeah, I think the topic is very unique. Like I'll share my journey, how I built like 100 plus people agency in 8 years. So it's not a rocket science. Like the number doesn't play a huge role, but it's more about the secret tools which I used, which are very rare, which is more about the pull approach and the mental model. So I'll talk more about it later in my presentation. But specifically, I wanted to talk about a pull approach. I don't know how many of you know the pull approach. So just a quick question, like, does anyone of you have ever heard about a pull approach? Just say yes or no in the chat. Let's see. No, yes, no, 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 never. Okay. Yes, yes. No. Okay. So looks like we have a few people know that, few people don't know that. So yeah, don't worry. I'll be talking about that. So I think there's kind of this team we have. This is an old photo, like because we haven't been gathered since last 2 years because of all this craziness going in the world. But this is the photo back in 2018 where we just 50, 60 people. So now we are much bigger as a size of team. So quick thing about me, like I'm an entrepreneur, a growth hacker, marketer. I do practice a lot of mindfulness practices, mental models, and personally, I'm a very curious guy about almost everything in the world. So this is about me. Like I'm born and brought up in a very small town called like Jaipur, which is in Gujarat, and a lot of people, you might be surprised, I never went to English medium school because there was only one English medium school in our town where I born and brought up, and my family could not afford that because I'm coming from a very small, like I grew up with a very limited resources. So I studied in Gujarati medium school, which is a native language we have. I'm sure all of you must be knowing this language. uh, 19 when I turned 19, after my 12th I moved to Ahmedabad, which is the biggest city in Gujarat, in 2001, 20 years back. Then I did like, my Master of Science, because computer science and information technology was kind of like, a very new back in like 2000s. Uh, I actually came to Ahmedabad for pursuing my chartered accountants because I was very much interested into doing a chartered accountants. But yeah, I think my brother told me that, it's very hard to pass that game. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And he was like, why don't you pursue computer science? Because uh, it's more like latest, and it's very trending right now. And the technology, it was the very early era of technology. And yeah, I did it, and I'm not regretting. That's great. So the interesting thing is, like, I never learned anything about digital marketing during my academics. So I'm talking about 2001 to 6, where even like mobile phones were not there. They were there, but they were like, there were incoming calls. You were like charged even to get like incoming calls on your mobile phone. And the computers were very expensive. I still remember, like, I did not have a computer for first 3 years. One of my friends had, and they had bought like, 60, 70,000 rupees. So it was way expensive back then. So yeah, I mean, after I completed my Master of Science, I realized, I was not interested into coding at all. And I knew that, marketing is something I love it. And so fortunately, like, I heard about digital marketing for the very first time in 2006. So now this thing is very different. Now every other MBA colleges now have like digital marketing as a course. So now if you talk to anyone, they at least know what is digital marketing, right? And you can imagine the era which I'm talking about, 14, 15 years back, where the digital marketing terminology, it was not there. Back then, it used to call online marketing or internet marketing. Digital marketing like became a mainstream in last decade specifically. So I started learning SEO by myself because there was no classes. Just started learning on the internet and worked for 5 years in SEO industries for two different companies. And then I realized, no, I kind of understood how the ecosystem worked. And I realized, yeah, I want to really start my entrepreneurship journey. So yeah, I mean, since then, I've been into this digital marketing industry. 13 plus years of experience, started three ventures in last 8 years, including E2M, which is I'm running successfully. uh, have shut down two ventures, almost lost like 10 million rupees, 1 crore, more than that, but learned a lot. So I don't have a regret of losing all this money. uh, Currently I'm running only E2M, which is successfully 100% bootstrap, 100% debt free, and I mean, it's highly profitable as we speak right now. I'm a guest contributor on industries like 50 plus leading publications. Here are few of them, like Entrepreneur, The Next Web, Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, which are the two most popular platforms in SEO industry, Content Marketing Institute and Smashing Magazine. Uh, E2M, a little bit about E2M, our agency. So we established in 2012. We have a team size of 101 people over here in India and 4 people in California and San Diego. We have an office, and we are serving clients across 10 plus countries. But like I said, United States, North America is our primary targeted market. Our primary services are organic SEO, content marketing, copywriting, and content strategy, and websites design and development. Some of the biggest brands we have worked with, like Shopify, from India, we stopped working with Indian clients since last 2 years because a lot of things change in our company in terms of strategy, targeted marketing, like that. But earlier we used to work with Bluestone, Myntra, Prectos, Switzerland, international level Shopify, Trustpilot. So I know you are in like Toronto. So yeah, I was in Toronto. I met Shopify. They have a headquarter in Toronto as well. Trustpilot, which is again big name sales, Hover, WalkMe. These are all the big names we have worked with. So let me start my journey. 2012, uh, I only had like maybe like 100,000 rupees, which is 1 lakh rupees back then. So, and I did not have any contact. Only thing I had is like, aspiration to do something, a lot of energy and knowledge in terms of like, SEO and content marketing. So we started like 500 square feet office because I was very particular from the very beginning that I did not want to start my company from home. So I was like, okay, I was ready to invest. So we got an office like 500 square feet, just two people. We did not have a website back then, new website, no sales team. no funding, no clients references. And I knew that I wanted to work in the US market. So because I knew there is a huge demand in the US market for what specifically I was having knowledge of. I did not have any contacts in the US back then. And it was a like, very unique time because uh, I don't know how much you guys know about SEO, but 2012, like, it was a revolution year in terms of SEO industry because Google rolled out two major algorithm updates. One was Panda and another was Penguin. Panda was rolled out in 2011 and Penguin was rolled out in 2012. And these two updates literally changed, like, industry forever. Because back then, like, I'm talking about, like, if I talk about 2000, before 2011, then you could literally copy content from any website and still rank your website. Panda changed everything. uh, Google started penalizing, like, websites having duplicate content. And in Penguin, like, before 2012, you can build like thousands of backlinks overnight and rank on Google on the first page by directory articles and stuff like that. But all the all stall activities stopped working from 2012. And because, Google started penalizing the websites which were having, like, low quality and spammy backlinks. So literally, like, these two algorithm affected 2.3% of total Google search query back then. And businesses were going, like, out of business because there were a huge number of businesses. They were totally relying on SEO. They were getting like 80%, 90% of traffic through Google organic channel. And they were not, like, ready for any other channel. All these algorithms were, like, rolled out overnight. And literally, like, clients were firing their SEO agencies. SEO agencies were shutting down. Clients were firing their agencies. And in that time, we launched our agency. So it was like literally like that 2012. The world was about to end and I was like, okay, now is the time. That was not the right time to start the agency, specifically SEO agency. And I had, like, choice to make. I had literally choice to make whether should I continue or not, right? Or should I go back and start doing my job? And then I was like, I was quite sure that I wanted to make it happen. And then, the next choice I had to make was, so if you start an agency, specifically service business, right? So either you have a push approach or pull approach. So what is the push approach and pull approach in the marketing? So push approach is something like, when you push content, when you push yourself towards your targeted audience, right? So TV advertisement, again, it's a push approach because you are getting noticed in front of, like, you are reaching out to them, right? uh, Google PPC ad again is a push approach. Cold calling, cold emailing, which is, you are reaching out to your audience rather than they find you. You are finding them rather than, instead they find you. While the pull approach is, more of like, organic approach where they find you. So you get, you put your content in the channels where your targeted customers are, and then they find you, and that way they reach out to you, right? So basically what Avi does, micro video strategy and like that exactly part of a pull approach, right? Where you create a content, create a video, and then you video get, people find it on YouTube, and then they, identify it, they find you, right? That's exactly the pull approach Avi is doing. So I think, I had a choice to make. Should I go with the push approach or pull approach? So push approach was very, you know, it was a mediocre approach. It was a very common approach which every agency, I would say, would follow at the beginning. Like, you go on hiring a business development team, you bid on freelancing sites like Upwork, Elance. So Elance later got, like, acquired by Upwork. Now it's no more. It's called Upwork, but back then it was Elance. Freelance.com, Guru, cold calling is were very popular. Like, a sales team would find the data from Google of agencies in the US, and then they reach out to them by email, cold calling, and running paid advertising campaigns, which was not an option for me at all because I did not have funds back then. And I did not want to raise funds. In fact, like, raising funds was not a popular terminology back then, right? It just became very popular in like 5 6 years. So, and I did not want to like borrow money from like banks, and like, because I come from a very middle class family, like, where taking loan was very, like, it was not a good thing to do because you always were told that, you have to make it happen by yourself. So this was the one option I had. And the second option I had, like, so all the SEOs agencies were shutting down. And then I was like, option I was having is like, okay, how about if I think of, introducing a service as a primary, which is the need of an hour, right? And rather than selling SEO services as a general, how about if I introduce a service which is the most needed right now? And how can I get noticed, by showcasing my knowledge, right? So I think, when you are starting a new business, one of the most important challenges you have is your clients are asking for your references, right? Which kind of clients you are working with. I would like to speak with them. Then I would like to see testimonial. I would like to see case studies. I would like to see portfolio. And I did not have back then anything, right? So then I was like trying to figure out how can I, break the conventional way and, you know, uh, like adopt the pull approach. And then just so you know, I did not know this was called a pull approach back then. I just wanted to do something different than other agencies were doing, right? So I decided to go with a pull approach because I was like, I did not want to rely on someone, right? So generally, like, agencies, people start business, they say, okay, I need funding, I need salespeople, and I need this, that to grow my business. But I was like, you don't want to rely on like neither funding nor people when you are beginning of your like beginning of your business, right? Because it's kind of like that you are still relying on someone to grow your business, right? That's not the right way to start your business. So it's always you should have everything within you, which at least you can start the engine, right? And it's kind of like that, you have a self start engine, and you have an option to find 5 people on the road and ask them to uh, kind of push your car, right? So obviously self start is the best way because you have the total control on your hand. So we decided to go with pull approach, right? Which is like attracting customers. So, and pull approach, uh, what everyone was looking back then, everyone got, majority of sites businesses got like website, they're penalized by Google, which means they lost their rankings. What I did, I spent extensive time on understanding Google algorithm and understanding like why Google penalized website. We knew that, and how to recover sites. So we launched a service called Google Penalty Recovery Services. Now that terminology was new, right? So I built a page on the website, Google Penalty Recovery Services, and I started ranking on that keyword within like one or 2 weeks, or within a month, I would say, because there was no competition. Everyone was selling SEO services as a general, and I was like, I wanted to kind of like go narrow down and offer a very particular services. So we started offering like Google Penalty Recovery Services. And back then, I'm talking about 8-9 years back, content marketing was not a popular terminology, right? It was, now it's extremely popular, but back then it was not popular. So I was like, how about I start doing content marketing by myself, where I don't have to rely on. And I had an experience, I had a knowledge. And then I started doing, I started putting my knowledge and experience in form of content. And then what I did, I identified what are the most popular blogs where I can showcase my knowledge, I can put my content, right? And back then, and what exactly people are looking for. And back then, guest blogging was very new. So what I started doing, I started revealing my strategies for free. Absolutely. What people, the one of the most important mistakes people make, that this is my strategy. See, guys, internet is the open world we are living in right now. There is nothing like a secret strategy, right? The more you share, the more you help people, the I really like the quote by Zig Ziglar, like, if you help people what they want, you will get everything what you want, right? So back then, like, people were like looking for this kind of strategies, and I was like, I started offering content for free. This was a 4,000, 5,000 words guide we launched in 2012, ultimate guide to advanced guest blogging. We like wrote everything, which was we were doing by ourselves in the form of 4,000 words guide. And this picked up, like, I approached Moz.com, and we approached Moz.com, and that was the most, still, like, Moz is the most popular website in SEO industry. And it was the most, one of the most popular SEO softwares on the internet right now as we speak. So we approached them that we wanted to do this, guest post, and they liked the idea. We did it. And then we started doing with other platforms. So Search Engine Journal, which was another one of the most popular blogs. So we started, launching the content around what was the need of an hour. So people were looking for a strategy, right? That now post like, Panda and Penguin era, what are the link building strategies we can, implement, right? And then what I started doing, I started posting content on our blog. I started making things clear. Content marketing is not a rocket science, and ultimate guide to content marketing for agencies. This was like another 4 5,000 words I wrote on my blog, and it started picking up. So everything what I did, 100% based on my caliber and my capability. Where I started writing the content. Obviously, I hired a copywriters to editing and stuff like that. But I reached out to this blog editors, and I become a contributor, and they already had a traffic, right? They already had like thousands of visitors. So this blog picked up. We started getting like tons and tons of attention through this blog post. People saw that we have a knowledge, right? So then I started once I went one step up, where we kind of tried to become a thought leader, right? So we started observing Google updates, and we were early adopters. We were able to identify that what kind of Google update is going to launch. And as soon as we analyze the internet search query data, and we realized that Google rolled out a link devolution update, and nobody knew this terminology back then. It was us who identified that Google has started devaluing your links if you have a, like spammy backlinks. So this got attention a lot for our brand, because people started noticing us that okay, these people know the game they are into. And what then what we did, like infographic was, it was not completely new, it was a little bit new back then. Nobody was doing it because it was time consuming, it required a lot of efforts. We did this algorithm where we compiled all the most important Google search algorithm updates in 2012, and we put an infographic. And this infographic was picked up by search engine land, which is the one of the most popular news in SEO industry. You think like right now TechCrunch or Mashable, which is the most popular news sites in technology industry right now on the internet. So search engine land is still like one of the most important like SEO news websites, and they picked up this infographic. We got again like uh, great attention. And then what I did, this is the one of the most interesting strategies which I did on my personal bag. Quora was, I'm sure now everyone knows that, but back then it was not a so much popular platform. I joined in 2012. I figured out, people have a lot of questions. And I was like, how about if I answer this question and showcase my knowledge? I posted like all the answers which you see, 157 answers, I posted in like just matter of few months. I used to sit like 5 6 hours a day on Quora. I used to write 2,000 words answers, because one of the most common mistakes people were doing back then, they were posting like very small answers. And what I did, I found the most important questions, and then I identified which of the questions do not have a detailed answer. And I started putting more and more time on that. And this is how like I started getting noticed as well. I started building my personal brand, where you know now the most important benefit of all this pull approach is that when I started getting leads, right? I started getting leads. People did not ask for my work because I have already showcased my knowledge. People did not ask for the reference. People did not ask for the case studies. So I still remember I got like, I guess 10 clients from Quora, different answers, where business owners would have reached out to me and say that, hey, I saw this answer and we have this problem. I want you to, do a technical SEO audit. So I still remember we got a one lead that was a very one of the most popular blog, uh, and bigthing.com. And Big Thing is the site where Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, invested in the early stage. And the founder of Big Thing reached out to me through Quora that I saw your answer and I wanted you to do an audit for your SEO audit for my blog. And that the blog has like, like literally 100,000 or millions visitors per month. So that was the first project I got from Quora. And then, leads started loading. So they never asked me. So one of the most advantages of pull approach is like, they never ask you for the references. They never, because that was my problem back then, because I did not have a reference. I did not have a testimonials. I did not have a case studies. I did not have a portfolio. So this pull approach helped me to solve that problem, and I had to solve this in my unique way. So, and then yeah, leads started loading, and we started getting leads through pull approach. And and I'm talking about, like, 2 years, still we did not have any salesperson at all, no PPC, no salesperson, right? Our site was also not getting ranked, really well, because it was relatively very new, right? And it takes time to rank site. But we were, I was trying to hack something where I did not want to rely on anything, and I was still wanted to get the leads. So yeah, conversion ratio was obviously high, because that was the need of an our service. And once, businesses started reaching out to us, that when we recovered them, when we helped them recovering their sites from Google penalty, then the next time they were looking for, like, hiring us for an ongoing SEO, because we started then offering that, okay, now we offer SEO services where we do not, do any kind of old school activities. We perform like high quality and all the most important, like, content marketing activities. Now I did that for my brand. So I told them, like, this is something I did for my brand, I can do it for you as well, right? It was very easy to prove for me. So there was no need of reference, right? Growth was there. 500 square feet, we moved to 4,000 square feet office in just 2 years. Our team size grew from 2 to 50 people, and we turned into, like, full service agency, started offering other services as well, because we started getting clients. So people were looking for, like, clients were looking for websites, they were looking for mobile applications and stuff like that. And then, we built a machine. We started generating leads through referrals. So we focused a lot. I'll talk about customer service later in my presentation, and branding and like that. So yeah. And then, 2015, so I wanted to talk about the mistakes I made, right? So when you get, like, a lot of success in your early days, you get tons of confidence, right? And then you want to try everything new out. So 2013 14 was year, like, where India, where every entrepreneur was, like, raising the funds, they were starting the startup. And exactly that's what I did. I started diluting money. I started diluting profit of E2M into starting all these new ventures. So I started e-commerce venture. So one of my friends, he's into textile business in Surat, uh, and he reached out to me. Why don't we start an e-commerce venture? And it went well. We were making like 100,000 rupees sales from the first month itself. But yeah, it did not work out because my focus, completely diversified. E2M, e-commerce venture. I had one my client, and he was a good friend of mine from the US. He said, "Why don't we start a mobile app product?" We started, like, one mobile app product for a pet industry for dogs. It was an amazing product, and it was completely new product. But yeah, it's just like focus and everything like that. So 15 16 were year of a mistake, where I started diluting my focus. And then 16, I decided that, okay, we would like to open in the office in the US. And I'm talking about, like, time when I did not have any family. I have like few friends. I just moved to the US just looking at the map. I did not know what to do. First time I went to the US, August 2016, a 30 days trip it was. 29 days, I visited 12 cities, 15 states in 29 days. That was the first trip I had in the US, because I really wanted to explore and understand. I just met my all of clients in person, because I felt like, that helped me to understand how they think. Because one of the, things which I still work on right now, understanding the, human psychology, right? Because no matter whatever industry you work with, you have to understand, like, how people think. And I really wanted to understand, like, how this world works, how the other part of the world works, which I never have been to. So we opened an office there. I visited there, then I applied for my L1 visa, and then I moved, in the US 2017, early 2017. So I lived in 2017, 2018, I lived that. So then we started, sponsoring the conference, right? We identified what are the, most popular conferences where we can uh, possibly, like, meet our clients, because now we were in the game where we had funds. So we started doing marketing and like that. So this is our US team back then. uh, and we started doing conference sponsorship. This was the one of the most turning point of my life, because I lived in the US for 1.5 year. And yeah, I acquired tons and tons of knowledge. I literally visited, like, almost all the popular states in the US. I went to meet my clients. One of the most important things which I did, which generally people don't do it. So people, when usually do travel, they try to set up an appointment with a new clients. I never do it. It's been like 5 years. Since last 2 years, I have not been traveling because of COVID. But 16, 17, 18, 19, consistently 4 years, I make 1 month trip every year. And I visit as many clients as I have possible. Because I always believe like, retentionship is the most important thing, right? So the referral, not a single marketing channel can beat referral, right? So I always spent time and my efforts and money. I spend literally like thousands of dollars every year in this travel and all these meetings. But I don't meet new clients. I only meet my existing clients to like relations, to build a strong relation. Understand like how can we do business, because it's very easy to sell to your existing client rather than finding the new one and sell to them. I'll speak with about that later in the presentation. So yeah, 17 was a great time where I learned a lot. I acquired almost like 50 new clients in just 1 year, on an average 4 to 5 new clients, because of my local presence there. Because you know, I was afraid to get on the client calls before I moved to the US. Then I learned. I literally started going out random at the place, started talking with the people. Just I wanted to improve my communication. Just I wanted to understand their accent, right? I was having a problem to understand how they speak. And I started, watching the content, and I started talking. But there was a real experience I got where I exactly understood, how businesses operate in the United States, what quality means, what is the meaning of commitment, right? What is the importance of showing up on time? What is the meaning of true professionalism, right? So as we know, like in India, we don't value the time. If you say someone like, let's meet at 10 a.m., people will show up at like 10:05, 10:10, 10:15, right? Now I still have a record. I never ever missed my single meeting in last 8 years. I always showed up, specifically after 2017. It changed my perception. I always show up 10 minutes before my meeting. I always prep myself before I have meeting. If I am not unable to show up, I always communicate, right? Because that is the truly professionalism. It does not look good when you show up late and make an excuse, right? So a lot of things I learned professionally, personally, and it changed within me. It changed personality within me, right? And it was like I'm kind of an explorer guy. I'm a curious guy, so I had that kind of curiosity to learn new things, to explore new things, and that helped me to acquire new clients. I love to meet new people. I still love to talk to people and like that, because I always feel like when I meet new people, I will always get to know something new, and which will help me to enhance my knowledge. And based on my experience, I can tell you the only and only way to become smarter is like you meet more and more people. Be it like now it's difficult, so you meet virtually. Talk to as many people as you can, right? That's the only way to become smarter, because that's how you can learn more things. So yeah, 17 was great year. 18 was like kind of like Trump, right? So my visa did not get renewed. I had to move back. Okay. And just so when I moved to the US, I sold everything over here. I sold my car, I sold my house and everything, and I had moved back because I went there thinking like I'll settle there. But yeah, you don't know. Life has plans for you, right? And COVID has taught us a lot of like, you should not plan anything long term, right? So uh, it's about like, I had to move back, which I wasn't planned. Uh, we had change in the management. I had a business partner who decided to leave, and we had a bank loans because we were growing, so we were like raising money, taking money from bank because we're taking loans. We had like close to 1 crore loan back then because moving to the US was a costly affair. I had to spend a lot of money on that, opening office there, hiring people there, spending on a marketing efforts and like that. So it was the most difficult year in the company's history because we had like debt of 1 crore loans. My business partner decided to move on. Obviously, we parted away on on a happy note. And then I had to take control of the company. I was like personally settling in India because I lived in there 1.5 years. I saw a different part of the world. It was hard for me to accept this change and like that. But then I had an option, right? Whether should I pity the situation or I accept and move on and just work around that, right? Just like COVID, right? We have right now two options. Should we pity the situation? Oh, everything is crazy around us. Or should we like think about what's next? Okay, let's take a vaccination, right? Let's just be cautious. Let's just work from home. let's just try not to get infected until we get vaccinated, right? So I think, my approach always have been like, solution approach rather than, sticking to the problem. Let's stick to the solution we have, right? Because things we don't have in our control, let's focus on the things we have on our control, right? So it was most difficult year. So I had to change within myself. See, one of the most important things, being an entrepreneur, right? It's a solo journey, right? So you can't be emotional. You have to control your emotions. You have to think about others before, yourself, right? So there was no option that I could collapse. There was no option at all. I had to be strong. So I started developing, mental models framework. So when, all the bad things happen to you started thinking why these things are happening. Genuinely, you start getting, this kind of question. And I really wanted to understand from a fundamental level. And I don't know how many of you know what is the mental models. Have you guys heard about this? Yes or no in the chat. What is the mental model? No. Okay. So it just got popular since last few years. So yeah. Okay. No. Looks like, yeah, most of people don't know. So mental models is a framework how you make the decisions. Okay. So see, there are 2-3 ways to make the decision. Like, so one is you use your intuition. The second way is you use your memory. You recall. You make the decision. And the third is, you use, frameworks, mental models frameworks. So you decide some frameworks and you make decision based on that, rather than make decisions based on your a biased decision, right? Which is based on your memory, which is based on your intuition, or you based on main your experience, right? So generally what we do is that if we go to the restaurant, if you order a dish and if you don't have an experience, next time you are building a memory, I will never ever go to this restaurant, right? Because you are making decision based on your memory, right? Based on your experience. But how about if you think, build a framework that, okay, I will go next time and try something different out, right? So mental models are like, it's a very, very deep topic, right? You guys can, I have some resources to share in this presentation, so you guys can learn more about that. It's a very deep topic, so I'll not go much into that. uh, Mental models are how we understand the real world. Mental models are how we simplify the complexity, right? Whenever you are in a complex situation, how to make it simplified. So mental model frameworks help. Mental model is a simply, representation of how something works. Okay. How money works. If I ask, like, 100 people, 99 out of them don't know how money flows, how money works in the real world, right? So smartest people in the world. So what I do, I follow a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and Elon Musk is my, like, kind of an idol. uh, the person I look upon. Smartest people in the world, use the mental models to make intelligent decisions. They avoid stupidity. They know what not to do, right? And they just figure out a ways how to increase the productivity, right? So one of the things is, like, you don't need to decide what to do. If you just decide what not to do, that will make your life much easier, whether it's business or whether it's life. Whether you are planning any business, when you're planning any strategy, you know what not to do, right? If we take an example of COVID, then we know what not to do, right? We just don't not need to go out, right? We just need to be very cautious. We just need to wear mask. We just need to be, sanitized. We just need to follow like 6 feet. If you know, and what to do is a huge list, right? But what not to do is a very small list, which will help you to prioritize your, stuff. So my recommended blog for Furnham Street, uh, it's very popular for learning mental models. uh, my favorite, I'm just giving you one reference, not, overwhelming with your too many information. My favorite Twitter handle is Naval Ravikant. Is one of the most popular, like, philosopher, uh, uh, invest I mean VC, venture capitalist. He lives in San Francisco Bay Area. My recommended book is, How Rich People Think. See, being rich is not bad, but you don't read this book to become rich. But I really have a curiosity how rich people think. At least you can, adopt their thinking and, upgrade your thinking, right? So one of the irony of our education system, one of the irony of our society, people always tell you what to think, right? People will never tell you how to think. And how to think is the most important thing, because now when you say how to think, you are building you are building a practice, you are building like framework, you are clearing your mental framework that okay, this is the way to think, right? So this book helped me a lot. Like it's by Steve Siebold, how to think, how rich people think, and how to adopt that thinking process, right? See, being a rich is a altogether different thing, but at least you can have that thinking, right? uh, Building an entrepreneur related mindset, Sahil is a founder of Gumroad, which is one of the most popular community where entrepreneurs can sell without having an e-commerce store. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs on Twitter. My recommended podcast is How I Built This, where this the podcast host, they ask founders, and then they interview them like how they build this, and that's how you can learn a lot from that. So these are uh, where to learn all these things. I'll talk more about how I built a referral machine, right? So I told you, right, I did not want to have a huge sales team. Even now as we speak, we have 105 people, we have 100 plus customer. We only have one or two salespeople. As we are growing now, we are hiring more people, right? So we have like 3 4 salespeople, and most of them are in customer service. So business development, actual business development people are just two. So I really wanted to build a referral machine. So still as we speak right now, we get most of our leads through referrals. So this is the most important thing. People always take it for granted, right? Customer service. Customer service is a competitive advantage, right? So you just have to be top notch, whether you are serving product or you are into services. Our customer service is top notch. Most of our clients are in the United States. We make it very clear that our clients account managers and project managers will be available till this time, okay? And we never take more than 6 to 8 hours to respond to any emails. Right now also, I have uh, a practice where I respond to emails as quickly as I can, and that's what the habit I have built in my team as well. That's how I have trained my account managers and project managers. So customer service is the most important thing, that you respond to your clients on time, do not delay, communicate very clearly, keep the transparent process, right? And deliver exactly what you commit. Okay. So one of the most important things, so you guys know, right? Outsourcing is like kind of corrupted word in the United States. So whenever clients come to us, they say we have burned our hands with agencies in India, and we tell them like, I hear you what you say, but that's not we are, right? And we always prove ourselves by telling them, okay, how about we engage first, right? Usually we don't get into this problem because we always get clients through referrals. So they always they come with a trust, they come with a with kind of that confidence that these guys can deliver, right? So we have now brand like that. So focus on customer service. Customer service is not an expense. Customer service is an investment. Just I want to repeat this because people think people think twice, and people think I can have like someone who is just knowing English and I'll hire them and they will be in customer service. No, customer service should be the person who should be your highest paying employee, right? Or highest paying person, at least a good paying person, right? Because you don't want to put your customer in someone's hand who don't know what game you are into, otherwise they will mess up with your brand. Specifically when you are serious about brand building, and specifically where you'd like to build a referral machine. So I have a framework. We invest a lot, and I personally work with customer service team to make sure we have a top notch customer service. And I can tell you this is not common. It's a common word, but I hear from all of our clients that when they reach out to agency, they don't hear from hours and hours. Nobody is paying attention and like that. So I have a philosophy, right? I always told like it's always easy to sell to your existing client rather than you find the new one and sell it to new one. See, you think like that, right? When you are working with a client, they are already convinced, they are already working with you, they already have a trust. Now you tell them, you get on one call, okay, and you can just get on the one call and you sell your sell. The probability of making that sell will be extremely high, and you don't have to put a lot of efforts, right? But you find a new client and then you want to sell, it's going to take definitely time, right? So I have this framework that always invest more on customer service and existing clients try to retain them, try to upsell, cross sell them rather than finding the new one, right? Yeah, you continue have to find new one to grow your business, but in that process, make sure you don't lose your existing ones. Otherwise, you can't grow. So now, one of the most important things, about scaling business is, consistent scaling, right? So you don't want to go like scale like this and then fall like this. That's what mistake I did. In 2016, we had a 120 employees. And then I made mistake because my focus was diversified, right? And then we went like this, and then we became focused and like that. And then, again, we are 100 people company. But I learned a lot by, losing all that money, which I would not have learned without making those mistakes. So those were like, I simply consider as the tuition fees I paid to learn all those lessons. So always focus on that. Now we have a 90% retention when it comes to clients and employees both. So generally what we do is, when we run a business, we give importance to clients more and less to employees, right? So once you need to understand, if you are in the digital industry, people are the most valuable assets you have, right? You always, so we have a 90% retention ratio when it comes to, a people hardly leave us. Either we don't want to work with them, or something is not, we are not on the same page. So we always like, that's the reason people leave us. Otherwise, we have people working with us like 7 years, 8 years, 6 years, minimum 3 4 years people work with us. So I have a philosophy that if you want to build a successful team, you always want to work with, convinced people rather than hiring them and convince them. So you know what kind of people you are looking for. So it is much easy to work with convinced people rather than, convincing people. Guys, life is too short, right? You don't want to waste your time on hiring people and convincing your vision, your thought process, your values, right? What exactly your company is trying to do. Instead, why don't you, do a reverse engineering? Why don't you speak with the people during interview and try to understand how they think? And that's how you hire, right? So this is exactly like, uh, you should think, you should hire people when you grow. And this is my favorite quote by Nawal. If you can't see, this is how I, when I interview person, I think like this: can I work with this person for a lifetime? The answer is no, I will not hire that person. If answer is yes, then only I'll hire that person. Because you want people who would like to be in a long term with your, in your game, right? You don't want people to join you and then find another opportunity. Because see, life and everything in life and business comes with a compound interest, right? So we grew like literally 30 40% in last 1 year. It's not just because last 1 year, we have been doing since last 8 years. So it's a compound interest, right? So you want people to work with you for long, because that's how they will start paying us, right? Initially you will be spending a lot of time on training them. So make sure, people have a vision to work with you. So if you can literally follow this framework while hiring the people. Can I see working with someone for a lifetime? Yes. I mean, I understand things change over the time, but at least as long as you can foresee, you should make such decision, right? And I have this framework to retain employee, right? If you were an employee, how would you like to get treated? That's how exactly you treat your employees, your people. And I can tell you, they will never leave you. I learned 5 years. I worked for two different companies, traditional companies. I worked with like 200, 300 people company. I was heading digital marketing division. I worked closely with CEO, and I understood that, I learned like what not to do if you want to retain people, right? So this framework helps me to retain people. I treat them how I would like to treat. I don't treat them as an employee, right? I just treat them as like, my colleagues. We work as a team. So make sure, when you have a team members, when you hire team members, you always how you would like to get treated. Okay. That's how exactly you would treat them, right? So talking about like, I know we are running short of time, so we have a Q&A section as well. So talking about 2021, we grew like 30 40% in terms of revenue in just last 1 year, doubled down our team in last 2 years. We were like 50 60 people when I moved back from the United States to India. And we productize our services in last 1.5 year. We changed like how we are doing it. Again, I wanted to do something different in the agency level as well, right? So currently our like, monthly recurring revenue is $70,000 per month, which is like, we have productized our service, and out of our productized service business and still growing, which was not in 2019. In just last 1.5 year, in just like, yeah, 1.5 year, this was $0, like recurring. We were having revenue, but recurring revenue was like $0. It's now $70,000 per month. We are hiring, like as we speak, we are hiring like 25 to 30 new people, and we are planning to move into a bigger space once this pandemic is over. Right now we are into like 4,000, 5,000 square feet office. But yeah, right now we are 100% working from home. Again, like how I want to work. I want to work from home right now, right? Then it's been like 1.5 years. We have been totally 100% working from home. In February, back in February, we have like 10, 15 people coming, but we have now flexibility where people can work wherever they work. So yeah, this is kind of like my journey so far. uh it's I have shared very little. It's been like a lot happened in last 8 years, but yeah, because of the time crunch, I just wanted to cover like the most important things. And this is the best way. If you have any question, if you need any help, I'm not talking about like uh, professional help. Even if you have a question, shoot me, I'll be happy to answer. I always love to help people, and always tell them. I always share my story so you can learn from my mistake, what things work for me, what things did not work for me. And yeah, I'm most active on Twitter and LinkedIn. This is my Twitter handle, LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Manish, that was
So
fantastic.
yeah, Avi, back to you.
That was fantastic.
Yep.
Guys, how many people loved that story and simple framework? मुझे सबसे अच्छी बात ये लगी कि आपने कोई लोन नहीं लिया, आपने कोई you bootstrapped.
Yes.
उसमें सबसे ज्यादा मजा आता है. You are the boss. You tension भी ज्यादा होती है, but you're the boss. You make your own decision. You call the shots. Okay.
Yes,
So
correct.
what we do is कि भी
Absolutely.
हमारा अब हमारा because this is a moguls masterclass. These are all entrepreneurs who have gotten into the internet moguls of the world school to learn how to run businesses. So these are
Right.
not college students. So these are business owners. So
Okay.
business owners ko hum hamesha we put
Correct.
them to the test. So what
Yes.
guys, business owners, we're going to ask you now, what are the top three takeaways? What are the three things that you learned? I know many of you people don't have a digital marketing agency, but what Manish said is true and can be applied into any business. Now,
Yes,
what we're
correct.
going to do is we are going to put a post on Learn Social Media with Avi Arya. All of you people, quick, and we're going to be asking you. Awesome. What was your biggest three takeaways from today's Moguls Masterclass? So I put a question on the Learn Social Media group, and I'll ask people to do it in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, what we do is that
Yes.
we'll take about 5 questions right now, and then
Sure.
before Manish goes, we'll all put on our videos and take a group selfie with Manish.
Sure thing.
Awesome. Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, guys, anybody has any specific questions? We're going to take five. I'm going to pick out 5 questions. Some people have already sent the
Sure.
questions yesterday.
Yeah, I'll let you ask me the question. You pick the
Yeah,
question, I'll
I'll do that.
answer it.
Yes, sure. So questions, we like to pick up how-to questions, a specific question that leads to a specific outcome.
Yes.
Okay, Manish, till the questions are coming in, I'll ask you on behalf of the so Omnath Sharma, Sonal, Kamal, everybody's asking questions. So I'll mix it up. So how does a business owner stay relevant in these times?
Sure thing. I think that's a great question. First is, see, right now we are in the era where we are moving from a degree based economy to skill based economy, right?
Yeah.
And right now we are in the era where you are, see, uh, when we when we were back in the college, the internet was not so much popular. Now you are not limited to just your local geographic, not even like national level. You are like,
Yeah.
your you can showcase your expertise to literally like 7 billion people on the internet, right? So across the world. So I think the most important thing, you find your genuine interest. Okay. This is something like, everyone do is like do what you love, right? But
Yeah.
I think the one of the most important thing is you want to break the noise, right? So let's say if you would like to start a product, right? Then it's it doesn't need to be like a 100% unique product. So even if you want to start a product or
Right.
business which someone else is already doing, right, you can still do it, but just try to add something unique which nobody can add value, right? So one of the things is like we human beings are naturally very unique, right? Every one of you have something unique which I don't have, which Avi doesn't have, right? So I think you need to find that out, and it. It's you just have to realize that you find your genuine. You just don't do it because your friend or someone else is doing. Just
Right.
someone else is successful because you are doing. That doesn't make sense, right? So I think it's a very broad question, because no matter industry you are into, starting your digital business, you are starting your entrepreneurship journey, just find what is the need of an hour first, and what is the most popular thing right now. You don't want to sell something outdated thing, right?
Right.
And just try to foresee, right? What see predicting future is nothing but just to observe, pay attention to what's going on across industry, right?
I
So
love
one of
that.
the most
Yeah.
important things is, right, find there are the best minds on the internet, on Twitter. Just find what you are working on right now. Just find the top influencers on Twitter, YouTube, and like YouTube, Twitter and YouTube, I would say. Just see like what they are doing, right? So for example, like if you are doing something in a crypto, right, just follow like Balaji Srinivasan, which is he is one of the most popular guys on Twitter who knows, like, who has a really good knowledge about cryptocurrency, like that. So you need to do that exercise. So find your interest. Let's say I'll just give you a very high level example, right? So let's say you are trying to build a product for athletes or sports, right? Then you try to identify who are the influencers, right? Who are the top influencers in your industry. Just follow those people. What are the latest industry trends, right? So one thing is that blog posts are like kind of like outdated. Twitter is
Hmm.
the most latest, and most Twitter and YouTube where people and podcast, right? Industry related podcast communities like Avi, what Avi is running, right? Community, join the community, right? Things like that, where you can get to know the real time experiences rather than reading a blog post which someone could have done a ghostwriting, right? So I would say the most important thing is do whatever your expertise is, but add your USP, your unique proposition value, and I'm sure it will work.
Lovely. Lovely. Ricky Khurana has a question. Ricky says, "What are the three top marketing assets? Three top assets you're going to focus on when the world opens up? Like, could be a digital
uh,
asset, or what are the things you focus on?"
I would
But are you
say
really
I
world?
would
Are you really waiting for the world to open up? Because the cross borders, there are some worlds, some countries which are already opened up. So we don't have to. Do you have to really wait for to do business today? It's already happening, because like you
Yeah,
said
it's already
correctly,
happening.
yeah, like you said correctly, if you're a travel agent and you can't work today, and because travel is closed in India, but you can sell an Australian tour to somebody in New Zealand and a New Zealand tour to
Yeah.
something in Australia, because that part of the world is open. If you're a travel agent, you create a package for New Zealand and sell it in Australia, you can still make money today. So the borders are already open because of the internet. So I'm not sure. I don't think you're waiting for things to happen. I'm sure you're making things happen right now, Manish.
Yeah, absolutely. You so see, guys, like I said, I used to travel every year. 2000, it's been 1.5 year. I have not been traveling, but it's not case. I'm getting on a Zoom call with my clients. Okay,
Yeah.
so they also know the reality. So it's not necessary that you have to wait for world to open, specifically when digital world is already open, right? So I understand there are some of the businesses who were severely affected because of COVID,
Right.
but then this is the time you do something different. You build a community, right? You build a community. This is the best time. You create a content. This is the best time. If you don't have like you have a great time to create a content, maybe like educational content, right? uh, like things to do, like when the world reopens, right? Or like when the travel reopens, right? Identify the countries where the like Israel, like they just removed like mask mandate from yesterday, right? They
Yeah.
have now like 50 more than 50% of their population got like vaccinated, right? So Israel has a beautiful a lot of like beautiful places to I visited Israel uh, five,
Oh
6 years
wow.
back. Tel Aviv is beautiful. Yeah, Tel Aviv is really beautiful. So now is the time. If you are a travel agent, you tell them, Israel is the country to visit, and only like not only that, you help them to get them visa, right? Stuff like that. I know it's a weird time. People won't prefer to travel, but at least start educating that. So yeah, I think I agree with Avi that you don't have to wait to world to reopen. You have all the channels open in digital industry, digital media. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, can we all switch? Sukanto, can we switch on everybody's cameras? I'd like to have a group selfie with today's uh, moguls, so we can have a nice memory of the moguls masterclass. So all of you people, can you please switch on your videos? Come on the screen. We're going to take a nice selfie, and the next step will be that all of us people post this selfie on. I'll tell you what to do with it. So let's first take the picture. एक agency world, actually किसी भी world में, but especially in the services business, when there
Yes.
are so many permutations and combinations and so many things that we have to do, उसमें the role of collecting payments on time, and
Yes.
therefore maybe your decision of working with overseas clients was,
You
had
got it. You got it. One of the reasons we stopped working with Indian clients since last 2 years.
because the complete dynamics of the business change if the money
Yes.
comes in advance.
True. True.
आप फ्रंट फुट पे
I
खेल
agree.
सकते हो वर्सेस 6 महीने आप किसी को फॉलो अप कर रहे हो पेमेंट के लिए. That
So
is
true.
crazy.
So true.
So guys, all of
Yes.
you people, please put on your video. Sukanto, please help everybody put on their videos quickly. We don't want to waste anyone's time. And video option सबके पास है. Sukanto जिसके पास नहीं है उनको please help them put the camera on. Hi Kamal, hi Yvonne, hi Anjana, hi Astha, hi Priya, hi Sadda, hi Tarundeep, hi Ricky. Another 1 minute we'll take and we'll just get everybody online. And so so when you transitioned to getting clients from the US, did you have
Mhm.
lots of clients? So you had obviously some lots of Indian clients till you got all the American clients, and then slowly said no to all the
No,
Indian clients.
no. Basically, we started with from the very beginning. We always have had like 90%. I would say like 70-80% clients from the US.
Oh,
So
okay.
that has been always our primary target market. But because of our branding and content marketing, uh, we started getting a lot of popularity in the Indian market as well. So
Hmm.
we started getting leads and through like Indian clients. I mean all these brands, and we started working with them. We worked with them till 2018, and then I decided, okay, we have had some bad experiences. One of the three problems with working with Indian clients is they always say, okay, आप meeting के लिए आ जाओ, right? uh, yeah, and I'm like, okay, why don't you share at least some information, and then no, आप meeting के लिए आ जाओ, फिर हम लोग बात करते हैं, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, the
that's
last,
what gave birth to
yeah,
the micro video mastery system, because every client used to
yes,
say up meeting pe aa jao, and we started
yes,
saying yeah, yeah.
yeah. And
But
guys, everyone, I wanted to tell what Avi is doing exactly the pull approach, right? So I saw that he is into this training you guys how to create micro videos. I can tell you the video is the next big thing. Okay, uh, all the successful people I follow in the United States, they are not sending their kids to school. Elon Musk, their kids are not going to school. They are learning everything from YouTube. Okay,
mm,
so YouTube is the next big thing. So micro video is the like literally it is already happening right now. So
right,
make sure you pay a lot of attention on that.
awesome. And also, what I've seen is that I always talk about, and we're all learning. I'm learning
Yeah.
from you. I'm taking notes while I'm listening to you. We're all learning. So yesterday I was talking to somebody who's part of the government in
Mhm.
the education space, and they said, "Why are you charging money to teach?" And
Yeah.
it doesn't. It takes me 2 seconds to reply, and I always say, if you I feel that if you don't charge, firstly, this is not a government, it's an entrepreneurial venture. You
Yes.
make money from your venture, you save
Yes.
money, you make profit, and then from that profit, if you want to help people, the
Yes.
people who have less, then that is a separate aspect of your business. You can call it
True.
CSR, you can call it whatever you want. But in your
Yeah.
business, if you confuse your business by saying that, this is 1 lakh rupees, but you know what, that person needs it, or this person is needy. And if you confuse your business with how you want to help people, if your business is not helping people, then you need to revise your business and your business plan and review it and say,
True.
why am I underconfident or insecure about my business? Because every time somebody asks for a discount, it's the insecurity on that other person's part. It's not the insecurity on your part. But most of us, जैसे ही कोई client बोलता है that, oh my god, I can't afford it, or all of a sudden we feel, oh, the market is not responding to my product का price नीचे जाओ. और what happens is, आप agency world में आपने obviously देखा होगा, services business में
Yes.
हम बहुत लोग हम खर्चा बना के इतना बैठ जाते हैं कि हमारा खर्चा इतना हाई होता है,
True.
और उसके बाद अगर क्लाइंट जो भी रेट पे हमारे को बोलता है, हम बोलते हैं, yeah, let's do it, no problem, I'll do it.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
with that you have no option but to always be in an unhappy situation. So
Yeah.
always have so can I ask you, Manish, one last question before we take the group
Sure
selfie?
thing. Yeah. Sure
uh,
thing.
do you have a percentage of revenue that you don't touch and keep for a rainy day?
So that's a good question. I have learned that from my past. One of the companies I used to work with before I started this company. I learned a really good thing. They keep the reserve of 12 months salary. So
Yeah,
so I'm right now at closely 3 months salary. So because I never raise the fund, so we always use our
yeah,
cash flow. So yeah, I would highly recommend. Cash flow is the king in business. Okay, so you should always have rainy days, kind of like that. So you don't have to let your really good people go, right?
yeah,
So that's one of the most important things. But yeah, at the same time, uh, businesses can't run on emotions, so you have to make decisions, right? So generally what I do is, I always uh, identify, we are a 100% performance oriented company. So whenever we have an appraisal of all the people, we identify which people are not performing, we give them
sure,
some time. If they are not performing, we let them go, because we don't want to do injustice to people who are performing extremely well,
100%.
right? So I think, rainy days, most important thing is, yes, you should definitely plan that out.
Right. I
So
remember.
percentage is more about, I would say, you calculate. I have a different, I don't keep it percentage. I just keep it that you keep your, what is your total expense, right? And then you start keeping that fund aside. So as long as you have a 12 months reserved fund, you
12
are
months.
in a
Yeah.
really good shape. Yeah.
Yes. So that's
And
what
I'm
we.
not there yet. Just so you know, I'm not there. I'm just having 2 to 3 months, because now we grew really fast. So now it's been happening.
Yeah. So, I'll also share a little bit of a thing. What happened was that before COVID, we were doing a turnover of about 1.5, 2 crore rupees a month on the agency side.
Uh-huh.
And so when
Right.
we were doing our price calculation, we said if we have to store money for 1 year, that means you have to store 24 crore rupees, which anyways in
Correct.
business doesn't make sense. Why would you put
Yes.
24 crore rupees? If you have 24 crores cash, you put it in the market, invest it, do everything right.
Cool. True.
And then we did 4 different models to say what will happen if things go bad. And we decided four
Right.
models, and one was worse than the other. What if our top people leave?
Hmm.
What if our top clients leave?
Yes.
What if we are not able to,
Right.
nobody leaves, but we're not able to get money for 60 days or 90 days? And the
Right.
final thing was that if a mixture of all of these things happen, so we put on Excel all four scenarios and we pushed them for the next 24 months. And what we realized was that
Okay.
if we have about 15% of our yearly turnover,
Mm.
we'll be able to surpass any
That's great.
situation, because we have a 100-day contingency plan. And 100 days ke andar, most of the things can be sorted out if we are keeping an eye on the market. So
Yes.
uh, a 1 year plan is the best plan, but I'll come back to how we came to our decision. So we said, okay, 100 days.
Yes.
so that if tomorrow something crashes and my
Mhm.
senior person comes and tells me we've lost all our senior clients and they stopped paying or the
Yes.
payments have stopped or something has happened,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if I'm having dinner at night at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, I should not have a heart attack. I should get
True.
100 days to be able to think. I'll go to work tomorrow morning. I'll go to the same gym. I'll
Agree.
drive the same car. I'll have the same meal. I will not bring down my lifestyle. Everything
Yes.
will be fine because that will allow me to think at
Sure.
peace because I've got 100 days of time to think.
True.
So that
Uh,
and so we did that. और वो बात अलग है कि कोविड ने सारे फॉर्मूले और सारे चीजें हटा दी.
Mess up कर दिया. Yeah.
nobody could nobody could plan that you had 80
True.
90% drop in revenue for the first 4 or 5 months. Nobody had planned for
Yes.
that. The best of
Yes.
investors, the banker, everybody I had spoken to, okay, the bank, you fund hundreds of companies, you tell me what should be my cash flow reserve. So he said, what did you do? We said we're at
Yeah.
91, 92 days. He said, oh no, 91, 92 days तो कोई भी नहीं करता, आपने ज़्यादा किया हुआ है. In fact, you should reduce it. We never reduced it, so we were fine for the first 3-4 months, but nobody had planned for this kind of a madness.
True.
But anyway, uh, to be able to do 1 year of your salaries and your basic expenses, your rent and all of that is just so fantastic because that allows you to think in peace. That's one thing that I learned. The
Yes.
other thing that I learned was that अब इसको नई सोच या पुरानी सोच मुझे कहना अच्छा नहीं लगता बिकॉज जो चीज किसी के लिए नहीं है वो दूसरे के लिए पुरानी है. कोई कोई ABCD बोल कोई some
Correct.
people start with one thought and start a business, the other people start with the other thought and start a business. फिर दो लोग रास्ते में मिलते हैं. मैंने मनीष से कुछ सीखा, मनीष ने मेरे से कुछ सीखा. मनीष will adopt Avi's way and say कि मैं पहले I was old school, now I'm new school. Avi will learn from Manish and say पहले I was old school, now I'm new school. But दोनों ने दो चीज different time पे सीखी है तो दोनों formula ठीक है. What I learned was that my father and everybody who's my mentor, they used to always say कि your work is your worship and focus
Yes.
on one
True.
thing and become the best at it. But they never allowed me to explore other things. Whereas people like Grant Cardone and all of these other people that I used to meet and I used to see, they always have 5 revenue streams. Have five
Yes.
revenue streams. And I used to always say, if I have 5 revenue streams, then internet moguls will get um, neglected.
Yes. Correct.
But for the last 3.5 years, we started working on a hotel project. We started working on MVM. We have a program where we have an agency in America and
Mm.
Canada. We have an agency program where we coach and mentor agencies to go to $1 million from zero. So I
Right.
started doing all of this. And I know my father, who's my biggest guru, he was not happy of why I am, focusing on so many things. And he used to always tell me, he said, if you people talk about investors and all of that, अगर कोई तुम्हारे पास investor आएगा ना और वो तुमसे पूछेगा और तुमको उसको पता लगेगा कि तुम 5 चीजों पे focus कर रहे हो, he will not be happy with your business. And I was
True.
like, that thing was eating away at me every day because 40% of my time before COVID had gone to uh, other things than just my agency business. But
Right.
when COVID happened, I realized one thing, that was the best decision ever because we
True.
did
I
not
agree.
crash and burn. In fact, we started doing much better because all the other things that we were doing, the training, coaching, mentoring, and all of that, that went 6-7x when the agency was struggling. So
Right.
similar fields के अंदर से business निकालना, related fields से, so that लोग भी उसी के आसपास लोग मिलते रहे,
True.
is another conversation for another time. But I just wanted to throw that out to all the entrepreneurs out there because the idea of the Moguls Masterclass for entrepreneurs every Thursday is to be able to bring in amazing entrepreneurs like Manish who've done it. See, internet पे बहुत लोग हैं जो motivation और ज्ञान देते हैं और बहुत अच्छी बात है. Motivation और ज्ञान is like vitamins. उसका क्या फायदा है मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन उसके बिना नुकसान है ये मुझे पता है. So motivation से क्या फायदा है मुझे नहीं पता, बट बिना मोटिवेशन के आगे बढ़ना मुश्किल है. तो मोटिवेशन की अपनी जगह है मार्केट में. बट देन व्हेन वी ब्रिंग इन मास्टर्स, the moguls on the moguls master class like Manish, they are people जिन्होंने जीरो से स्टार्ट किया है और ज्यादातर मुझे वो स्टोरीज इंस्पायर करती है जहां पैसे अपने खुद के लगे होते हैं और हर महीने का खर्चा पता है कि 7 तारीख को ये खर्चा है, 11 को ये है, 12 को ये है.
Yes.
मुझे व्हेन आई टॉक टू एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, जब मैं रिक्वेस्ट का भेजी थी मैंने आपको, व्हेन आई सी दैट, तो मुझे पता होता है कि आपके पास भी कहीं ना कहीं किसी डेट पे एक ऐसा कैलेंडर लगा होगा, शायद आज नहीं हो
Yes.
बट कभी था, जिसमें आपके पास आपको पता है कि
Absolutely.
कल ये पेमेंट है, आज ये पेमेंट है, परसों ये है. तो यार मैं अपने लिए काम कर रहा हूँ या मैं सिर्फ लोगों को पे करने के लिए पे कर रहा हूँ. बट उसमें
Yeah.
से निकलना and then to be able to save some money, and then save money for 3 months like you've done, and then grow a 100% company and have a positive, because I know you have a positive cash flow because you're working with clients overseas. So you have at
Yes.
least a 30-day positive cash flow. So you have a 30-day positive cash flow, or
So we have a 100% advance system, payment
yeah.
system.
So
Yes.
30-day positive
So
cash flow is the, it can changes the business. You, आपके पास चाहे छोटा
yes,
business हो, चाहे आप 1 लाख कमा रहे हो, 2 लाख कमा रहे हो, you don't need to make millions, but whatever money you're making, if you have a positive cash flow by 30 days,
correct.
you're a winner at another level. Look at Netflix; they have a positive cash flow by 12 months. पूरे साल के पैसे आपसे पहले देते हैं, चाहे वो $10 की
Yes,
फीस हो पूरे साल के लिए. So look at
true.
the positive cash flow relation to how people run their businesses. So for all of you people who are watching, listening, please make notes on what are the changes you can do in your business. If you, some people say मेरा business अभी छोटा है, अभी ये सब चीजें नहीं आती. These things start coming into play right now from your business. At least you put systems in place. You talk to your chartered accountant, you talk to your accountant, talk to your spouse, talk to everybody, and say, this is what I'm going to do. The one thing that drives these decisions, yeah, these are disciplines like anything else. कि मुझे रात को, I don't want to have sweets, or I don't want to, whatever is your discipline. But this discipline, according to me, comes only with one thing. जब हम अपने बिजनेस को एक कम से कम 10-year horizon देते हैं कि लंबी रेस है, लंबा है और ये डिसिप्लिन रखना है. अदरवाइज व्हाट हैपेंस इज व्हेन वी गिव आवरसेल्व्स अ डिसिप्लिन और रिजल्ट नहीं आता 1-2 महीने में, वी से फॉरगेट इट. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? लेट मी गो बाय द न्यू आईफोन. वैसे भी कौन सा मैंने करोड़ों रुपए कमा लेने हैं. जो अभी खुशी मिल रही है अभी तो ले लो. लाइफ इज शॉर्ट, अमेजिंग, लेट मी लिव फॉर माई सेल्फ एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. वी स्टार्ट fooling ourselves into doing all of those things, and then we land up after 5 years for a conference with all other people from our industry, and we have the latest iPhone, and that somebody in our colleagues, somebody who was our colleague 5 years ago, you realize when you see the pamphlet, you see that he is the main speaker because the conference organizers have chosen him because the last 5 years he bootstrapped like Manish did and built a company, and today all of you are listening to him with your expensive iPhone sitting in the crowd. So that's the difference between people who plan for the long term and versus people who say I want gratification. And last thing I wanted to share was, there was a study, I'm forgetting the name, I think some of you might know it. On the YouTube, it's very, very, very popular. There's a study which was done by American and Canadian scientists. What they've done was they divided kids from 3 years onwards into two groups. I think there were 20 kids in one group and 20 in another. And they said to the kids, or both the sets of kids, they gave the same idea. They said, we'll give you a chocolate if you do this task. You have an idea. You can either take the chocolate right now, or if you wait for another week, I'll give you 2. If you wait for another month, I'll give you 3. And delayed gratification. And then they followed these people for the next 30 years till they got into their 30s and 40s and became entrepreneurs, scientists, or whatever. And they realized the kids from the young age who delayed their gratification, they were all way more successful than others who said, "Mujhe aaj hi chahiye." So all those studies prove that we should have a long-term focus. So Manish, this was really nice. Thank you very much.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
You find me loser, set me free. You make me win every way. You show